Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Lord Hagen, and I bid you all welcome back to Gothic 2. A bit of a mishap. Once again, I actually recorded this video, and it was going to be a little late, but it wasn't going to be that late, until I realized that the same bug that happened a few episodes ago happened again, and for some reason, my recording software for the video actually defaulted both the audio channels, and so it didn't record any sound. And while I had the microphone recording, the game would have been silent, and that's unacceptable as far as I'm concerned. So, last episode we got our objective to go to the Valley of Mines and retrieve evidence of the dragons and bring it back here, or bring it back to Lord Hagen. And, well, we should probably let Pyrocar know what we're getting into. Before we begin, I wanted to discuss something. You know, I had a second chance to figure out who said this to me, but I once again screwed the pooch on that, so your name will be on screen. Whoever reminded me that in the first episode, I had mentioned that there is a certain artifact that will show up in the forest, or kind of on a cliff over the forest behind Zardas's tower. And that shows up either after you join a faction or at the start of Chapter 2, but it changes depending on what faction you join. If you join the Mercenaries, it turns into an amulet of life energy. If you join the Militia, it turns into an amulet of dexterity. And if you join the Monastery, it turns into an amulet of enlightenment, which I had totally forgotten about, so I bought one. And then had to sell the duplicate at a loss. So that was unfortunate. Learned from my mistake. The other thing I took care of, I decided not to waste time on screen, but I wanted to get it done before we moved on to the valley. Turned in Bro Moore's golden bowl that Lucia stole from him, and we found it in the bandit camp behind Sekop's farm. I had done that on the Militia playthrough just because it made things a little bit easier, but I wanted to show that here to demonstrate it for anyone who didn't want to see that video for whatever reason.
I have managed without Lucia so far, and I will in the future. Why would I try to make her come back? Huh?
What about a reward?
You get to have a good time with one of my girls for free. What do you say, huh?
Agreed. Here's your dish.
Thanks. Go to Nadja. She'll accompany you upstairs. Yeah.
And he works all day too.
To pay for it.
The other thing is, on a similar note, I made sure to report to Thorben, because he gives you a small reward for returning to him after Elvrich returns. And it's actually kind of hilarious, because he gives you 200 gold, which is a lot of money for a man who supposedly does not have any gold to pay anybody, including his own debts, which actually amount to 200 gold. So, we're not sure what's up with that.
I found a letter from your Lucia.
What? Give it here. No, I don't believe this. No, I just can't believe it. She just can't leave me behind like this. Take this letter back. I don't want it. I firmly believe that she's going to come back to me someday.
Elvrich will work for you again from now on.
I can only hope that he won't disappear again when the next little tart waves her skirt at him. Take this gold as a reward for bringing back my apprentice.
The last thing I want to talk about, well, last couple things were related to the Militia video. I wish I had included them in that, but I didn't think of them at the time. One of the things is that if you get the quest, the mercenary related quest, to drive the Militia soldiers off of Bengar's farm, and then you go and join the Militia instead, those Militia members on the farm actually do not recognize you as part of the Militia. They will actually refer to you as a mercenary still, because Brownovites never really accounted for the possibility that that would happen. It's actually the same thing that happens with Engardo and Alvarez on Akel's farm. Even after you join the mercenaries, your character will still be able to ask them, how do you join the mercenaries, and they'll still blow you off and try and kill you if you bother them too much. The last thing is that I had mentioned many times that there is an easier way to join the militia via a tip from Lares. Much as he is able to help you join the mercenaries and join the monastery, at least through Vatras, he also has an opportunity for you to join the militia to make it a little bit easier. Even though there's now 3 ways to join the militia, this one, I suppose, is the easiest, even though I still think becoming a citizen of town is quite easy and also beneficial in more ways than one. But if you do want to fast track it, Val was my good friend Val was kind enough to record a clip on how to get that done. Although she took some liberties with character costumes on the way. I don't want to take up too much time at the beginning of this video since I've already gone several minutes. So I will include that clip at the end if you want to see that. Anyway, back to mage business, for all those who are very disappointed to see me hopping around factions in the last couple videos. We're back on mage duty, so let's report to Pyrokar what we learned from, or what we were instructed from Lord Hagen.
I carry news of Lord Hagen. He wants proof for the presence of the dragons and the army of evil. So I shall go down to the Valley of Mines and get him his proof.
Good. You will follow this order, then. The paladin Sergio is to escort you to the pass. May Enos protect you.
Escort me to the pass, but not through it, which is kind of weird. This isn't exactly the dangerous part of the trip, but he doesn't see any value in having an armed escort taking us any further. Alright, Sergio.
Could have told you that before.
You know, funny how we were calling upon you for help in our novice duties, and now you are sworn to defend us.
You are to escort me to the pass.
Good. Then I shall do that. I know the way, so follow me.
I shall follow.
I never knew that.
One last thing. Wanted to get on the road before he mentioned it. But I had said that I was on the fence, weighing up whether or not I wanted to go through the portal with the water mages to get a certain spell that actually is very advantageous for when you make the trip to the Valley of Mines. And I ultimately decided to do it, so what I ended up doing, just to avoid losing that part of the walkthrough, is I recorded that as I went through the portal and went through all the introductions on the other side, and then got the spell from the water mages, which is the Ice Lance here. The advantage of this is that even though it's kind of got the same damage to mana scaling as most of the other single target spells in the game, its advantage is, first of all, it does 100 damage per hit, so it's a very good single hit damage. It costs 20 mana per cast, but like I said, it's got the same kind of scaling as anything else. But its advantage is that, unlike the Fireball, which I think costs at least 10 learning points to be able to create, this one only costs 5. So, making that trip and getting this more powerful spell is certainly worth it, in my opinion. So really, Sergio's biggest value here is simply the fact that he's a lot of free XP for you. You barely even have to lift a finger. Although if you do want him just to go ahead and clear everything out for you here, you have to pull a few monsters his way, because he's going to take a pretty straightforward path. Not that any of this is difficult to deal with on our own, but, well, if he's here, why should we break a sweat?
You're in for it now.
Whoops, that was a mistake. That's easily dealt with.
Another one of those things.
Oh, it sure is. Why do you keep going? Deal with the lurkers.
Another one of those things. All right. So much for you, filthy beast.
There's another filthy beast. Yeah, more filthy beasts. You notice I've switched back to the, what the hell? Why have you done that? Switch back to the Staff of Magic. Wow, Sergio, you're getting wrecked. Jesus. Call yourself a paladin. So one of the nice things about the Ice Lance is that the combination with the unfortunately mandatory Fire Arrow spell is actually fairly effective. It does just as much damage as enemies such as lurkers and lizards. Just as much HP as they have. Do you mind? So the combination pretty much gets you a perfect, you know, you don't really spend any more mana than you have to. But unfortunately, since it is a fairly overkill spell, that means you... Whoa, Jesus, sorry, Sergio just went off. Guess he didn't feel like waiting for us anymore, even though we're the only reason he's here. The unfortunate thing with the spell is that it also is overkill for many of the things we run into. So, we have a tendency to overspend mana in order to kill very weak things such as goblins and scavengers and all that good stuff. But it is the price we pay for not paying too much. Well, come on now.
We are there. Whatever awaits you in the Valley of Mines, I hope that you find your way back.
Never fear, I shall return.
Go with Enos. May he always protect you.
May he indeed. There's a nice frying pan here if you feel like grilling up some meat before we go, but I don't feel like it.
Are you sure you want to go in there? I'm afraid you won't get very far. The orcs are on the other side.
If there's a way into the Valley of Mines, I shall find it.
Good, then go. Go with Enos.
Funny thing about these fellows, if you approach here, you can't get through this door normally without the key from Lord Hagen. Even though it looks like there's a gap above the door, there's no way to really jump over it. But they'll tell you need to turn around and leave and stuff. It's strange that he's already seemed to make no effort to really stop us here. He didn't even ask us to explain our business trying to get through. Never really understood why they put young wolves on this path, as if by now we're not capable of dealing with adult wolves. It is possible to kind of fast-track a lot of this stuff and get here really early, but it is not advisable. So, if we head up this way, you can clearly see there's an orc stomping about. We've proven that a single orc is not too much of a threat for us. But, my friends, that is not a single orc. There are many around the bend there, and way more than we can deal with. If we were real quick, we could probably wipe them all out with a fire rain spell. And actually our Ice Lance spell is pretty effective against them. You can take down single orcs in about 4 hits, I think. But there are just far too many orcs for us to deal with, and there's no real efficient way to pull them, to engage them safely and in small numbers. Nice crispy rat meat. So as I said, I switched back to the Staff of Magic simply for the very potent mana bonus that we get from it. Definitely highly advised if you're playing a mage character. It gets you at least 1 extra cast of any spell that you can cast at this point in time. Oh wow, I didn't know goblins got one shot by this. That is good to know. Left, right, left, right, right, left. So we got this nice archway over here. I don't know, I've never actually compared it side by side. If this path here is actually the same sort of landscape layout as the intro from Gothic 1. I'll have to do a side by side. I get the feeling it isn't. But yeah, that's the way. If you go through there, it'll actually take you straight to the exchange place from the intro of the first game. This one's a bit of a detour, but I guess it's just about the same place. And it's interesting that nobody's ever really come up with this path before, because nobody's been able to figure out how to sneak around those orcs, even though this passageway is by no means hidden. It's also interesting to me that, for all intents and purposes, this is on the other side of the barrier. It's a tunnel that leads to a very familiar location. Right, left, right, left. So it makes you wonder, would the barrier in the first game extend underground? You know, it seems like this would actually be quite an easy way to get out of there, if it turns out the barrier did not encompass this. And if it doesn't penetrate through stone, you could easily walk underneath it and get out. But nobody ever tried. When we step on through, we find ourselves in nighttime, for some reason. Apparently, we really got lost in there. But you might recognize this place if it were only a little bit lighter. This is the exchange place is over there. This is the abandoned mine, a location that we could never access in the first game. Somebody was kind enough to take the gate down, and we were able to find our way through. It's a shame that it just seems to be a straight path. It's just an area transition in Gothic 2. Never actually get to see what's inside. What is interesting is they actually did build a level for the abandoned mine in the first game. And a lot of modders have tried to restore it in various mods, such as the Golden mod, and Dark Mysteries used it for something else entirely. But if you try to get through there in vanilla Gothic 1, you just end up in a void. So if you want to, you can actually take a walk this way. There's not as many orcs as there are from the other direction, but a bit more than I'm comfortable dealing with. But as you can see, 4 ice lances dispatches them quite effectively. Another very good reason to get the spell before you head here. So I'll have to do some brightness and contrast balancing so everyone can see what's going on here. But, well, this place doesn't look quite so full of life as it did back in our first ventures in these parts. But at least the land, everything around the place looks quite familiar. See the castle spires in the distance. Surely that'll be our target. Very important when you come up here, where there used to be mole rats, there is a teleporter stone. No idea who made it or put it here, because it wasn't there any other time we've gone up on this plateau. It's interesting to note that all the way up here, it's a place we've gotten to before, and you can still get to now, but for some reason in Gothic 2 they decided to get rid of everything that was up there. No idea. They've also changed the landscape to make it more difficult to get up, but it's not exactly impossible. But if we take a peek up there, there's really nothing to see, and I'm not sure. There's a cutscene that triggers once you go down the path. It might actually trigger when we step up here. I'd rather it not. Yeah, if we step up here, it's completely barren. Not even the trees are still here. Little cave is, but there's nothing to be seen up here. But don't worry, the Gothic remake is gonna fill with a bunch of garbage. So anyway, let's make our way down the path towards our destination. Prepare yourselves for the best cutscene you'll ever see in your life. Man, if they did Oscars for video games, this one would have gotten all of them. Direction, cinematography, acting, animation, just all of them. All of them ever. The unfortunate thing about that cutscene is it likes to break the music triggers, so we have to do a quick reload to get that coming back. Especially because this is actually one of my favorite tracks in the game. Really sets the mood for how much different the valley is from the first time we were down here. These fucking blood flies are very obnoxious. But there's something altogether much more sinister over there. But our ice lance is more than capable of dealing with it. It's actually got exactly as much HP as an orc, but yields a lot more XP for our troubles. Well, here's a dead paladin. And the paladin here actually carries a paladin light spell, which is interesting. I can't remember, I think in Vanilla Gothic 2, you actually needed to be a paladin in order to use these spells, but in the Night of the Raven version, anybody can use them. But it's basically a free light spell. It's not as potent as the one that we can learn from Parlan, but it's free, so might as well use it. Fortunately, it just adds to the blueness of this place. Swat that fly. And I could use Marvin mode to set it to daytime just to brighten things up and make it a bit easier to see, but I want to play the game as intended. The interesting thing is that even if it's nighttime when you enter the abandoned mine, it's going to be nighttime when you leave. There's just some script that happens to make sure that it's nighttime as soon as you cross, but it only happens the first time you enter the valley. And it does happen even if you come through the exchange place the other way, even though there's really no excuse for you getting lost on that journey. Well, here's a friendly face, thank goodness.
What are you standing around here for?
I come from the castle. They've sent me to look for those missing, and to check out the area.
Those missing?
Some fled when the dragons attacked. Most of them didn't make it. No surprise there. But if there are any survivors left, I'll bring them back.
Bring them back? It sounds like it's a dangerous place to be.
Can you help me get into the castle?
Sure. But you have to do me a favor. If you can make it to the castle, talk to the paladin Auric. Tell him that his brother bought it up there at the pass.
How can I get into the castle?
First of all, you can forget the direct path. But if you walk around the castle, you might have a chance from the back. You should stay away from the paths and use the river. It will be best if you swim downstream for a stretch. It should be easier from there. The orcs have set up a ram behind the castle. You can get in that way. Creep up on the orcs as closely as you can, and then run for it. You might just make it if you're fast enough.
Well, hopefully we're fast enough.
What do I need to know about this area?
If you want to live, go back to wherever you came from. The Greenhides have laid siege to the castle for weeks now, and those dragons are hiding out somewhere too. The entire Valley of Mines is teeming with orcs. No matter where you're headed, this won't be a picnic.
Really don't understand. If you're smart and clever enough to make your way around here, why wouldn't they send you as a messenger back to Lord Hagen? Because it doesn't sound like they're meeting with much good fortune out here.
Cut out this magic smart kid.
Listen, man, this is a dangerous place. A mage has got to come strapped, alright? Don't give me no trouble. Just want to switch my armor because I forgot to do that last time, actually. So we're gonna just make a straight path for the castle because it's pretty much the best thing to do. There's some supplies we can get there before making an actual journey around the place. There actually isn't a whole lot of combat that we tend to get involved in on our first foray through the valley. You can if you want. I mean, there aren't too many things that are beyond our means here, but it would be quite a toll on our magical resources. And I just don't see much value in doing it now. If you want the XP, go for it. Well, I kind of like to hurry through this. Not really hurry through it, but just get the necessities done. And then get back to Lord Hagen, because things kind of kick off there. So we're going to follow Jurgen's advice pretty well. If you were to try and approach the, what was that, the North Gate? I always forget my north, south, east, west in the castle, or in the valley. I don't know why. I guess because I know my way around so well that I don't use a map anymore. And so I've kind of forgotten the cardinal directions. But yeah, if you were trying to approach the gate, obviously the orcs are well entrenched and well encamped. You simply cannot get there without being seen, and even if you did, the portcullis is down, so that's really no help. But as we can see, most of the old camp is gone. There's actually just the castle left. It seems that all of the wooden palisade and huts all around the castle have gone up in smoke. So Jurgen's advice is to swim down the river. You can do that if you want. I prefer to stay dry as much as possible. All we really encounter in this direction are lurkers along the river. There'll be some wolves and such up on the hill. But as long as we stick to a pretty narrow path, should avoid any orcs or anything too nasty. Let's get another light bulb going. Now, as we approach here, you'll notice something that didn't used to be here. A massive wooden wall all along the route that used to lead to the old ruined monastery that we explored with Gorn back in the day. And this wall actually stretches along the entire coastline of sorts. We're not really that near the coast right now, but You know, the orcs have set this up all the way down. It's even damming the river a little bit. And it goes all the way past the old swamp camp. So, as a matter of fact, even though this is the same map from Gothic 1, they have downsized it a little bit. I guess I just didn't want to try and flesh out that whole area. So they put up this... Well, from development perspective, they just put up this wall to have a smaller sandbox to work with. Which is understandable. But in the lore of the game, we'll find out exactly what that palisade represents. It's actually pretty simple. A certain fellow explains to us later that the orcs always, whenever they make a beachhead in an invasion, they tend to set up a palisade like that just to disguise the true strength of their forces. Or so we're told. Maybe someday we'll figure out a way to get to the other side of that wall and see what they're really hiding. Oh god, that's ineffective. No matter. One of the nice things about coming here at night is that all of the scavengers...
Nothing to be had there.
Here.
Nothing to be had there.
There's at least one more. I killed 5 of them. Oh, there's the 5th one. All these scavengers here are sound asleep, which makes them a little bit easier to deal with. So, if you want to, you can continue to follow the river down that way. I don't really like to, because there's a couple dragon snappers that hang out along the river there. Even though they don't really move, once in a blue moon they tend to get a whiff of me and come after me. Right here is a spell of transform into scavenger. Never really understood that icon. It seems like it got replaced by the mod. I don't really know what that's supposed to be. But, the transform into scavenger spell is actually not the most useful transformation spell we can get, because a lot of things hunt scavengers. So it doesn't really get us past all the nasties out here. But if you wanted to, orcs do actually ignore scavengers, so it is a way you can sneak past them pretty easily. But I'll show you the way I've always done it, which is to follow this path here. All around here is a little bit safer of an approach, but we can't really make a straight shot for the castle just yet. We have to make our way over to the other side of the river and then follow it from there. So if you head that way, there's a few dragon snappers. If you head that way, you're liable to run into a shadow beast, maybe a few orcs. Even going this way is a little bit dicey. There's a pack of snappers hiding just over a cliff face, and you might easily walk into them. If you stroll a bit too far towards those lights over there, you're liable to run into some orcs. So we have to tread lightly and try and walk between all the dangers. But we'll stop to skin some boars. Because no matter what we're up to, Bosper will always ask, why haven't we been bringing them skins? So, right about here, you can see snappers down there. If you try to duck to the right, you'll walk too close to those couple orcs over there. So instead, we'll make for this tree. Do a hop down here. Yeah, you can't really see it, but around the other side of that bridge is that dragon snapper I was talking about. I don't like him. He's a little too close for my comfort, so that's why I prefer to try and go between them. Now, Jurgen suggested that we follow the river just as a landmark, but there is actually a fellow we'll meet later on who explains that the orcs actually don't seem to like to go near the water. That's not exactly true. We'll see that they are actually kind of close enough to dip their toes, but they do actually ignore us as long as we're swimming. It's a bit strange. They almost seem to confuse us for a fish. But, I don't believe they behaved that way in the first game. I would have to double check. But these ones here are clearly close enough to notice us as we swim on by. But, as you will see, they don't attack us as long as we're swimming. Now, if we were to get over to where we have our toes on the ground, they would actually aggro on us. But as soon as we're swimming again, they don't give a shit. It's quite strange. But seems to be, well, as you can see, they don't mind going into the water or dunking their heads. But I actually just have made my life a lot harder. Nope, they're still ignoring us. Good. Very narrow tunnel vision with those fools. But, yeah, I think they wanted to... They must have added that part of their AI that ignores you while you're swimming. Just for the sake of making it easier to get around here. Because they wanted to really pepper this place with orcs to sell the idea that they've pretty much conquered the valley. But they came up with this weird excuse that the orcs just seem to be afraid of water, so they don't come after you when you're swimming in it. But don't be fooled, they will swim across the river to get to you if they notice you're on the other side. They're not actually afraid of the water. It's just something... Seems like the only thing they could do is make the AI ignore you while you're swimming. And they're actually the only enemy that does that as far as I know. Most other enemies will continue to pursue you while you're swimming. It's just none of them can actually attack you if they're swimming as well. So, this is pretty much where we have our best shot at getting into the castle. In fact, our only shot at getting into the castle is that structure there. It's hard to tell what it is, but it's actually a destroyed ram. Apparently, the orcs decided to build this colossal siege engine and try and annihilate a massive part of the wall instead of using it on the portcullis or anything. Can't really explain the rationale with that. I guess orcs are not really the masters of siege warfare, but... Well, hey, they tried. So, my trick here, just to play it a little safe, we have a small stockpile of snapper weeds. And that is more than enough for us to get close and dodge these orcs quite well. They have a fairly wide aggro range. So, they start coming after you sooner than you might think. So, take a munch on that, and we can really slip past them without them so much as smelling our breath. Once you're on here, they stop pursuing you. You can actually get within inches of them, but as long as your heels are on this part of the ram, they won't keep coming after you. That's actually really funny, because that makes this an effective place... Wow, that was annoying. Makes this an effective place to cheese the orcs for some XP. Even though they can see you and keep aggroing, they can't reach you. They'll just keep backing off. And you can just plug them with projectiles to your heart's content. So if you want to, and this is true of any enemy out here, there's wargs hanging about, snappers up in that direction. If you want to lure them all back here, if you can, you know, it's quite a sprint to get back here. They might get a few bites out of you on the way, but any enemy that you lure back here, as long as you're standing on this log here, they won't continue to come after you, or they won't actually attack you. You can even get close enough to land some melee hits, and they might not do anything to retaliate. But no matter, we're here. I think we should represent our authority. The funny thing is, NPCs only respond to your guild, not to the armor you're wearing, unless they're a member of the same guild. So, even though we'd be even if we kept walking around in a ring of water armor, they would still recognize us as a mage. Wow, why can't I grab that? Howdy.
You were damn lucky when you came in. I very nearly shot you.
Then I guess I should be glad that you have such keen eyesight.
Save your breath. Talk to Sengrath if you want something.
How are things in the castle?
A few of the boys are practicing, but in principle, we're all just waiting for something to happen. This uncertainty is wearing us down. That's the strategy of those blasted orcs. They'll wait until our nerves are shot.
Yeah, that's how sieges tend to work. It's not usually a matter of storming the walls and, you know, wiping out the resistance. Oftentimes it's a matter of just psyching and starving them out.
I knew it. I knew that someone would succeed. Have you come over the pass? Our messenger managed to get through then.
No, your messenger didn't make it across the pass. I've come by order of Lord Hagen.
Accursed orcs. Well, Commander Garand will certainly want to speak to you. You'll find him in the large building guarded by 2 knights.
Where can I find gear here?
Tandor hands out the weapons. Engor, the steward, is responsible for everything else.
What about magic supplies?
We are equipped with spell scrolls. If you want some of them, let me know.
Who can teach me something here?
Talk to Milton. He's the only magician here.
Melty.
Show me your spell.
Good old Melty. He didn't make it very far, did he? We shall take potions, because we always have a high need of those. This Belt of Strength is good for you if you're a melee character. It's the first one of those you're going to be able to find. Let's pawn off all this crap we accumulated on our journey here. One of the biggest problems with being a mage is just the sheer volume of mana potions you need. Ends up costing you a fortune. So we have to try and stay on top of our funds.
You came over the pass? Well done. We have already lost a lot of men out there. I know myself what it's like out there. I accompanied a reconnaissance unit for a while. Do you have a weapon? If you need a good weapon, I'm your man.
What became of the unit?
We scouted the area and wanted to advance to the coast. We set up our camp in a cave. It was late at night when the orcs came. They charged us up the slope with torches and drums and discovered us. We tried to flee, but I was the only one who got through. Soon after that, the orcs erected their big palisade, and we pulled back into the castle.
Oh boy, things escalated quickly out here then. So, this man has some outrageously late-game weapons in his inventory. If you want to grab these now, it's going to be your only chance. But the Dragon Slicer, there's actually another place you can acquire that, so you don't have to worry about that. Everything else he has, most weapons merchants will end up with these same things in their inventory. So don't be too fussed if you can't get them now. This is a decent amulet for this point in the game. It actually offers a fair bit of resistance for you. But I don't usually occupy my trinket slots just for extra armor, unless I've got nothing better. So, Melty, I'll assume he's in the chapel here, where we last saw him. Well, actually, we last saw him in the chamber with the ore mound, but seems like he's back at his books where he belongs.
Look who has returned, our hero from the barrier.
The funny thing about Milton is that he's like the only character where if you choose the options where you don't remember him, he doesn't offer you any information to try and jog your memory.
Do I know you?
You've been through a lot, huh? Do you remember Gorn, Diego, and Lester?
Those names don't ring a bell at all.
You have forgotten a great deal, haven't you? Well, let's leave the past in peace and devote ourselves to the here and now, even if there isn't anything pleasant to report.
So what is there to report?
The Paladins came here with the intention of getting the magic ore. But with the dragon attacks and the orcs, I can't imagine the paladins will march out of here with the ore. No, Baianos. I feel the presence of something dark, something evil growing here. Something that emanates from this valley. We paid a high price for the annihilation of the Sleeper. The destruction of the barrier has ruined this place as well. We can all count ourselves lucky if we survive this.
Indeed.
How much ore have you stored away so far?
How much ore? Not one chest. We haven't had contact with the scrapers for some time. It wouldn't amaze me if they were all long dead. We are being attacked by dragons and besieged by orcs. This expedition is a complete disaster.
So he doesn't mention it because we skipped the dialogue. He actually offers even less information if we pretend we don't remember anything. Gorn, he says, is chilling in the dungeon, whereas Diego was sent out with the ore scrapers. Let's actually... Did I save? I didn't save recently enough, screw it.
Hey, you!
If you ask, or if you say that you remember them, he mentions where they've all ended up. But instead we have to find alternative ways to do that.
What is your task here?
Originally, I was supposed to assay the magic ore, but we haven't seen much of that so far. Now I'm concentrating on the study of alchemy.
Can you teach me something?
I can instruct you in some magic from the second circle of magic, or I can help you to increase your magic power. If you feel ready to increase your power, then I can instruct you.
It says he's investing himself in the study of alchemy, but he won't teach us any of that for some reason.
I want to...
Your magic...
What was that?
I want...
Your magic power is great. Too great for me to be able to help you to increase it.
Ah, then what good are you?
I want to learn some new spells.
So this is all he's got. Nothing really that helpful to us. One of the biggest problems with Gothic 2 is just how they have such a wide variety of spells, but some are just objectively better than others, and some of them are just genuinely seem to be ineffective. So you don't get enough learning points throughout the course of this game to be able to really try them all out. And of course, every learning point you spend learning spells is learning points you can't spend increasing your mana, which is arguably more important. So it's kind of a shame for first-time players when they invest in things like Wind Fist and Ball Lightning and find out those things are practically worthless. On this table here, I just kind of snatched it without thinking. The teleporter rune to go back to the castle, so now we have the means to go back to the pass and come back to the castle. So if for whatever reason you need to head back to Corinus or the monastery or anything like that, that's the easy means to do that. Left, right, 29 golds. What is happening to the textures out there? I did go ahead and learn how to make like mana extracts and essences and stuff. But unfortunately I'm out of fire weeds. I think the most important potion you should learn how to make as a Fire Mage is the Potion of Spirit to increase your mana. That's just about the most important stat for a mage. So let's make a straight line for Commander Garand.
Stop! Who are you?
The question where I come from is much more important. I came across the pass. So, are you going to stop me now, or can I go in?
Well, I couldn't know that. Of course you're allowed in.
Where do you come from? You aren't one of the scrapers, and you aren't one of my people. Well?
I've come across the pass.
Over the pass? You actually got through? By Innos! Why have you taken this path upon yourself, magician?
I come from Lord Hagen. He wants me to bring him proof of the presence of the dragons.
And you've just come here to get it and then disappear again?
Well, that's what I had in mind.
So he wants proof. He can have it. But I can't send you back to Lord Hagen without giving him information about the ore. Listen, Lord Hagen absolutely must learn what the situation is here and how much ore we've mined up to now.
All right. What do you want me to do for you?
I've got 3 units of scrapers out there, but they haven't sent me a single nugget. Visit the mining sites and report back to me how much ore they have stored. Then I'll write you a letter that you are going to take back to Lord Hagen.
Oh, well, I guess I have no choice.
Well, it seems like a ridiculous request. We're obviously capable of getting in and out of the pass, so we found a way. But that doesn't mean we're, able to navigate all the danger of the colony and, sneak about the place trying to dig up some information for you. I really think the ore is secondary to the threat posed by the dragons. If you can prove that, then Lord Hagen will send you reinforcements. At that point, the ore is arguably in safer hands.
But why me, of all people?
Because you know a way to get through the lines of orcs. My boys would be hopelessly lost out there. You, on the other hand, have managed to get through once already. That makes you the best man for this job.
I need some equipment.
Talk to the magician Milton here in the castle. He knows about the things you'll need.
Where can I find the mining sites?
Here, take this map. It shows the 2 areas where the mining sites are located. If you have any more questions, ask Parzival. He can tell you all you need to know about the scrapers.
How's the situation?
You should set out to find the mining sites. I'm desperate for news about the status of the ore production.
This is to ask Parzival for more information. Parzival's supposed to be standing here, but he is in bed right now. So is the Paladin Orc, who we're also supposed to report to. But there's an easy fix for that. Nope, not that one. Boop, boop, doop. Hey, old Parsi.
What can you tell me about the scrapers?
I assembled the 3 groups. Marcos, Fajeth, and Silvestro are the paladins who each lead a group. Marcos's group set out in the direction of an old mine, led by an old digger named Grimes. The other 2 groups set out together. Jurgen, one of our scouts, has reported that they set up camp near a large tower.
Do you know how to get to the mining sites?
There's no safe way into that valley, but it seems to make sense to me not to take the direct route. Keep away from the orcs and the woods, and may Innos protect you.
Oh, that's very helpful.
How's the situation?
The camp is surrounded by orcs. They've really dug themselves in. But even more alarming are the attacks by the dragons. They have destroyed the entire outer ring by now. Another dragon attack, and we'll take heavy losses.
What's your task?
I'm a strategic officer of the king, and I currently answer to the Honorable Commander Garand. We are the last of the paladins here in the castle. All the others have left or fallen. It is now our responsibility to bring a good end to this expedition, and that we shall do. By Innos, that we shall do.
Shall you?
I am to go to the mining sites.
This isn't going to be child's play. Beware. First of all, seek out the paladins. They are leading the 3 groups. If you want to know more about it, speak to Parzival.
Already done.
I have a message for you.
What is it?
Your brother is dead. He got as far as the pass.
My brother? Innos put me to a severe test, but he died as his servant. This news is like an arrow which pierces my heart. I shall seek new strength in prayer.
Yeah, you do that, buddy.
How's the situation?
You need to find all scrapers, plus the ore. Then we will figure out how we can leave this valley.
Well, you think you're just digging up one shipment of ore and leaving? I mean, we've been producing this ore in this colony for like 10 years now. You're not going to get it all in one go. Let's report back to Melty, and then we'll call it quits and talk to all the other gaggle of dorks around here in the next episode.
Hey!
Can you give me some equipment? Garand has asked me to go to the mining sites.
Where am I supposed to get that? The only thing I can give you is a valuable runestone.
A blank-ass runestone? How's that supposed to help me? Alright then, I guess that's all we're gonna get. I think, if you are a militiaman or a mercenary, you can actually get a free weapon from Tandor. He does not offer you one if you're a mage, because it's presumed that you do not use weapons. So even if you invest in weapon skills as a mage, you're often shortchanged in that regard when it comes to things like this. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very kindly for watching. Once again, I apologize that this is getting out a little bit later than intended, but that's the way of things. Just wanted to give a quick thanks to Vanta Black, who has provided me with a new avatar and channel art that I'm going to start deploying across YouTube and Twitch as I make a few modifications to them to make them make them format a little better for the particular platforms. So thanks again for that. With that, folks, don't forget to follow me on Twitch, subscribe to my stream archive channel, links in the description below, links to Discord as well if you want to hang out with a group of us and have a chat. And as I said, the end of this video will be the video that Val provided in regards to how to easily join the militia using a tip from Larius. So watch that if you wish. And otherwise, have yourselves a wonderful week. Don't forget to wash your hands, stay safe, stay healthy, and we will see you next time.
Hey! Vatras said you could help me join a community.
Getting tired of being the underdog, are you? All right, I see your point. I can exert my influence with the mercenaries if you want to join Lee. And I'm sure we can find a way to get you into the monastery soon. But the easiest thing would certainly be for you to join the militia. Which community do you prefer?
The militia.
Yes, I can imagine you'd like that, eh? Read the law to other people while you're pocketing their purses. The paladins have set up their provisions store by the harbor. Their provisions master is a good friend of mine. Maybe he can do something for you. His name is Martin.
I never do that.
Why the disguise? I won't talk to you like that.
Dolaris sent me. He said you could help me.
So? He did? Then fire away. What do you want from me?
I want to join the militia.
Oh, you'd like that, wouldn't you? We don't just take on ragbags like you for no good reason. You'd probably have to...
Spare me the drivel. Tell me what I have to do to join you.
Okay. Then pay attention. The job of the provisions master is hell, let me tell you. Managing all the crates and sacks in this place is bad enough. But every time I spend an evening in Cardiff's tavern, someone busies himself with the crates here, and when I come back the next morning, something is missing. Strangely enough, the paladins never see anything. I'm going crazy. I can't spend the entire night standing around here like an idiot. You, on the other hand...
I get it. I'm supposed to keep watch here while you hang around in the tavern.
Take it or leave it.
I'll watch over your provisions crates tonight.
Sweet. Good. Then come back tonight and keep an eye on the stuff here. In the meantime, I'll be in Cardiff's tavern.
What are you doing there?
Well, it's none of your business. Get lost.
Martin will be so happy when I tell him who's been rummaging through his belongings while he's gone.
You do whatever you want. I'll be on my way then, little man.
those who recognize his wisdom.
Only
Hey.
Enos decides what's right or wrong.
Do you really think you're gonna get away with this?
Hey, don't make such a fuss about a little bit of grub.
That's been known a long time.
I caught the thief. It's Rangar who is poking through your stocks.
Well, finally. At least now I know I have to keep an eye on. The bastard. There'll be one heck of a dust-up if I catch him at it. I've always wondered why none of the paladins saw anything.
And? Why?
It's obvious. The idiots can't tell those of us in the militia apart from one another. To them, we all look alike. That was good work, mate. If I can do anything for you, just say the word.
You know what I want from you.
Oh, yeah. You want to join the militia, right? You've already proven your abilities to me. Well, let me put it this way. I'd rather know you're on our side than on someone else's. That's why I'll help you. Take this letter of recommendation from me and show it to Andre, our paladin commander. You'll find him in the barracks. I'm sure he can use you.
I don't believe this is going to change.
Look, I've got this letter of recommendation from your provisions master.
What? Show me. Well, I'll be. This must have cost you quite an effort. It's no easy feat to get something like this out of Martin. All right, I'm convinced. If Martin vouches for you, I shall let you join. Let me know when you're ready.
I'm ready to join the militia.
Martin, the provisions master, vouches for you and has even recommended you. That alone is enough for me. You can join us if you wish, but your decision will be final. Once you wear the armor of the militia, you cannot simply take it off and no longer belong to us. Are you prepared to fight together with us for Enos and the king?
I'm ready.
Then so shall it be. Welcome to the militia. Here is your armor. Wear it with pride and dignity.
Will you stop
Watch
it
it.
now?
One. Never pick a fight with me again. Watch it. One more time and I'll slug you one. Just you wait, you son bitch. Ah!